Clara Whitmore's fingers had gone numb 3 hours ago. The depot bench wasn't wood anymore. It was ice against her spine, cold, seeping through her coat like water through paper. She'd stopped shivering an hour back. That's when she knew. This wasn't waiting. This was dying. The last train had left at midnight. No one was coming. No one remembered she existed. Her eyes drifted shut, not to sleep, but to let go. Then hoofbeats. Heavy. Close. A shadow blocked the moon. You planning to freeze to death out here, or you got somewhere better to be? Before we continue, please subscribe to our channel and stay with us until the end of this story. Comment below with the city you're watching from. I want to see how far Clara's journey travels. The trouble started 6 weeks earlier, in a place that should have been safe, St. Louis. October. The schoolhouse Clara had taught in for 4 years. She was grading papers when Councilman Howard Breslin walked in after hours. Locked the door behind him. Miss Whitmore, working late again. Clara didn't look up. Always work to do, Mr. Breslin. That's what I admire about you. Dedication. He moved closer. Too close. A woman like you deserves recognition. She stood, papers in hand. If you're here about the curriculum proposal, I submitted it last week. I'm here about you. His hand touched her wrist. A woman of your intelligence shouldn't be struggling on a teacher's wages. I could arrange something more comfortable. Clara pulled away. I'm quite comfortable, sir. Are you? His smile vanished. Because I could make you very uncomfortable. One word from me and you'll never teach again. Then you'll have to say that word, Mr. Breslin, because I won't be saying yes to you. She walked past him, unlocked the door herself, left him standing there. The next morning she was summoned to the school board. Breslin sat at the head table, didn't look at her. The chairman spoke instead. Miss Whitmore, allegations have been raised regarding improper conduct with a male student. Clara's blood went cold. That's a lie. Mr. Breslin witnessed concerning behavior, close physical proximity, inappropriate familiarity. I was helping Tommy Brennan with his arithmetic. His mother was in the room. Mrs. Brennan has recanted her statement, says she wasn't present that day. She's lying, or someone paid her to lie. The chairman's face hardened. These are serious accusations, Miss Whitmore, against a decorated councilman and a respectable mother. And I'm what, dispensable? You're dismissed, effective immediately. Clara looked at each face around that table. Men she'd known for years. Men whose children she'd taught. Not one met her eyes. She walked out with her head high and her future in ashes. By evening, the story had spread. Twisted, embellished. By the next morning, landlords wouldn't rent to her. Shopkeepers wouldn't serve her. Women she'd called friends crossed the street to avoid her. Breslin had won. Clara sold everything she owned to buy a train ticket west. Answered an advertisement for a teaching position in a small Kansas town called Millbrook. Sent her credentials ahead. Got a response 3 days before departure. Position filled. Do not come. She went anyway. Had nowhere else to go. The train ride took 4 days. Every mile, Clara rewrote her past in her head. Made herself smaller, quieter, unthreatening. Maybe in Millbrook no one would know. Maybe she could start clean. But when the train pulled into the Millbrook depot, the station master took one look at her letter of introduction and shook his head. You're Clara Whitmore. Yes, sir. Got a telegram about you, from St. Louis. Says you're not fit for teaching. That's not true. Don't matter what's true. Matters what people believe. You need to get back on that train. I have nowhere to go back to. Then you got a problem, lady, because you can't stay here. He walked away, left her standing on the platform with one suitcase and $17. The next train east wasn't until morning. Clara sat on the bench, watched families reunite, watched businessmen stride toward waiting carriages, watched the sun set and the temperature drop. By midnight, the platform was empty. By 1 a.m., she'd stopped feeling her feet. By 2, her thoughts had gone fuzzy. She didn't mean to fall asleep. But exhaustion doesn't ask permission. The hoofbeats woke her. Or maybe they didn't. Maybe she dreamed them. You planning to freeze to death out here, or you got somewhere better to be? Clara's eyes opened. Took a moment to focus. A man sat on a horse. Dark coat. Hat shadowing his face. Voice rough, but not unkind. Her tongue felt thick. I missed my train. Train left 3 hours ago. You've been sitting here since then. Longer. He dismounted, walked closer. She could see his face now, maybe 35, weathered. Eyes that had seen plenty and judged little. You got people expecting you somewhere? No. You got money for a room? Not enough. You got a name. Clara. She didn't give her last name. Didn't know if it was worth anything anymore. Ethan Cross. He studied her. You running from something or toward something? Neither. Just ran out of places to run. He nodded like that made perfect sense. You able to stand? Clara tried. Her legs buckled. Ethan caught her elbow. When'd you last eat? Yesterday, I think. You think. I'm not certain what day it is. Ethan made a sound, not quite a laugh, not quite a sigh. Well, Clara with no last name, I got 2 choices for you. Leave you here to freeze, which I'm not inclined to do, or take you to my ranch, get some food in you, and figure out what comes next. Why would you do that? Because I've been where you are. Different circumstances, same look in the eyes. He gestured to his horse. You ride? Not well. You'll learn. Come on. He helped her up behind him. She held onto his coat because she had no strength left to hold on to dignity. They rode for nearly an hour. Clara drifted in and out of consciousness. When they finally stopped, she barely registered the surroundings, just warmth, as Ethan carried her inside, set her in a chair by a fire, pressed a cup of something hot into her hands. Drink. She drank. Soup. Real food. Her body remembered what to do with it. You'll sleep in the spare room tonight. We'll talk in the morning. Clara wanted to argue, wanted to say she wouldn't be a burden, but her eyes closed before the words formed. Go. She woke to voices, male, arguing. Don't know anything about her. Don't need to know. Boss, she could be running from the law. She's running from something. Law's just one possibility. And you're just gonna let her stay. I'm gonna let her wake up and eat breakfast. After that we'll see. Clara sat up. The room was small but clean. Someone had removed her shoes, left them by the door, covered her with a quilt. She stood, wobbled, made it to the door, opened it, to find 3 men in the kitchen. Ethan at the stove. 2 others at the table, one older grizzled suspicious, one younger curious. All 3 turned. Morning, Ethan said. You sleep? Yes, thank you. This is Roy and Danny. They work the ranch. Roy's been here 20 years. Danny's new like you. I'm not... Clara stopped. I'm not staying. Didn't say you were. Sit. Eat. She sat. Because arguing took energy she didn't have. Ethan put a plate in front of her. Eggs, bacon, bread. More food than she'd seen in days. Roy watched her like she might steal the silverware. Danny just looked uncomfortable. You know how to read? Ethan asked. Clara paused mid-bite. Yes. Write? Yes. Do arithmetic? I was a teacher. Roy snorted. Was. Roy. Ethan's voice didn't rise. Didn't need to. Roy shut up. Ethan sat across from Clara. Here's the situation. I run a cattle ranch. Got 12 men working for me. Half can't read. None can do figures well enough to track inventory or manage accounts. Been doing it myself, but I've got better things to do. You want me to teach them? I want you to do the books, keep records, maybe teach the ones who want to learn. In exchange you get room, board, and wages. I don't understand. You don't know me. I know you're educated. I know you're desperate. I know desperate people work harder than comfortable ones. He leaned back. You want the job or not? Why? Why what? Why help me? Ethan was quiet for a moment. Because 6 years ago I lost my ranch in a bad deal. Loan I thought I'd signed turned out to have terms I couldn't read. Took me 4 years to earn it back. Nobody helped me then. Figure I can help somebody now. Clara looked at her plate, at the food she hadn't earned, at the man offering her something she didn't deserve. I'm not who you think I am. Don't care who you were. Care about who you're willing to be here. She met his eyes. Saw no pity, no judgment. Just a question waiting for an answer. I'll take the job. Good. Roy'll show you the books after breakfast. They're a mess. Gag. Roy wasn't exaggerating. The books were a disaster. 6 months of transactions scrawled in 3 different hands. Numbers that didn't add up. Invoices mixed with receipts, mixed with personal notes. Clara spent the entire first day just sorting. By evening her head ached and her eyes burned, but she'd found the pattern. Or rather, the lack of one. Ethan came in as she was closing the ledger. Well, you're hemorrhaging money. Someone's been skimming. His jaw tightened. You sure? Unless your cattle are eating their weight in grain daily, yes. Someone's inflating supply costs and pocketing the difference. Who? Clara showed him the invoices. Same handwriting, same supplier. Prices that climbed steadily over 6 months. Marcus. Ethan's voice went flat. He's been with me 3 years. He's been stealing from you for at least 6 months. Can you prove it? I can show you the numbers. Whether you believe them is your choice. Ethan studied the ledger. His silence stretched. Finally, I'll handle it. He left. Clara heard raised voices an hour later, shouting, something breaking, then hoofbeats, rapid, fading. Ethan came back to the office, blood on his knuckles. Marcus is gone. You'll need to redo the inventory counts. Start fresh. Are you all right? I'm fine. Your hand. I said I'm fine. He paused. Thank you for finding it. Clara nodded. Didn't push. Over the next 2 weeks, she rebuilt the entire accounting system. Created new ledgers. Established clear procedures. Taught Danny how to record transactions properly. The ranch started to make sense on paper. But the men didn't. Most avoided her. Ate separately. Spoke in mutters when she passed. Only Danny and Ethan treated her like a person. One evening, Clara overheard Roy talking to the others. Don't trust her. Women like that, they're always running from something. Boss trusts her. Boss is lonely. That's different from smart. She fixed the books. Caught Marcus. Maybe she's working with Marcus. Ever think of that? Maybe this whole thing's a setup. Clara stepped into the bunkhouse. 10 men, all staring. If you have something to say about me, say it to my face. Silence. I'm not working with Marcus. I'm not stealing from Mr. Cross. I'm doing the job he hired me to do. If that bothers you, take it up with him. But stop whispering behind my back like cowards. She left. Hands shaking, heart racing. But she'd said it. That night, Ethan knocked on her door. Roy came to see me. Clara's stomach dropped. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have... He apologized. Said you were right. They were acting like cowards. Oh, doesn't mean they trust you yet, but it's a start. He turned to go. Mr. Cross. Ethan. Ethan, why do you trust me? Really? He looked back. Because trust isn't something you earn by being perfect. It's something you build by showing up every day and doing the work. You've done that. For 2 weeks. That's 14 days more than most people get before they quit or run. You're still here. That counts. 3 weeks in, Clara started noticing things beyond the books. The ranch hands who couldn't read. The supply orders written in pictures. The frustrated looks when someone asked for help with a letter home. She started small. Offered to write a letter for Danny. then another for Roy. Then one evening she found a grammar book in Ethan's office and left it on the bunkhouse table. The next morning it was gone. The morning after that, she found Danny reading it, hiding it when she walked in. "It's all right," she said. "Keep it." "I don't need—" "Everyone needs to read Danny. There's no shame in learning. The others will. The others can join you, if they want." Word spread. Not quickly, not easily. But 2 weeks later, 3 men asked if she'd teach them to read. Then 5, then 8. Clara set up evening lessons in the barn, an hour each night. Basic reading, writing, arithmetic. Ethan watched from the doorway sometimes, never interrupted, never commented, until one night he joined the class, sat in the back, listened. Afterward, when the others had left, "You're good at this." "It's what I was trained to do." "No. Training teaches you the material. This is something else. You make them feel like they're not stupid for not knowing. They're not stupid. They were never given the chance." Ethan nodded. "Why'd you stop teaching?" "Before—" Clara tensed. "It's complicated. Most things worth talking about are—" She could have lied, could have deflected. But she was tired of carrying it alone. "A man made advances. I refused. He destroyed my reputation to punish me. Made it so I couldn't teach anywhere." Ethan's expression didn't change. "This man have a name. It doesn't matter. He has power. I don't. Power's just what people agree to give someone. Take away the agreement, power goes with it. That's not how the world works." "Maybe not, but it's how it should work." He stood to leave, paused at the door. "Clara, thank you for teaching them. They won't say it, but it matters." "You're welcome." After he left, Clara sat alone in the barn. For the first time in months, she didn't feel invisible. She felt seen. 4 weeks became 6. 6 became 8. Clara established routines, managed the books, taught evening classes, started helping with correspondence for neighboring ranches, extra income for Ethan, extra work for her. She learned the rhythms of the ranch, the early mornings, the long days, the bone-tired evenings. She learned the men, too. Roy's gruff exterior hiding deep loyalty. Danny's quick mind and quicker smile. The others slowly warming, slowly trusting. And Ethan, quiet, steady, present without hovering. He never pushed, never pried. But he noticed things. Noticed when she skipped meals, left food outside her door. Noticed when she worked too late, turned off the lamps himself. Noticed when she flinched at loud voices, kept his own voice level. She didn't know what to do with that kind of attention, the kind that didn't want anything back. One evening in early December, Clara finished the quarterly accounts. Everything balanced, everything clean. She found Ethan in the stable brushing down his horse. "The books are done. We're profitable, by a decent margin." He looked up. "That's good news." "It's more than good. You could hire another hand, expand the herd." "Could?" "You should." "Maybe." He went back to brushing. "You planning to stay?" The question caught her off guard. "I haven't thought about it. Might want to. Winter's coming. Roads'll be hard to travel soon." "Is that an invitation or a warning?" "Both." Clara watched him work. Methodical, patient, the horse leaning into his touch. "Can I ask you something?" "Go ahead." "Why did you really bring me here that first night?" Ethan was quiet for a long time. Finally, "My sister. She got in trouble with a man in town. Powerful man. When she refused him, he spread lies. She couldn't find work, couldn't show her face. One winter night she walked into a blizzard and didn't come back." Clara's breath caught. "I'm so sorry." Found her 3 days later. Frozen. I was 15, couldn't stop it, couldn't save her. He looked at Clara. "But I could save you, so I did." "I'm not your sister." "No, you're not. But you were dying on that bench, and I wasn't 15 anymore." He set down the brush. You asked why I trust you. Truth is, I don't trust easy, but I trust action. You've worked hard, helped these men, haven't asked for more than you've given. That's enough for me." Clara felt something crack open in her chest, something she'd kept locked since St. Louis. "Thank you. For that night. For all of this. You've earned it." "Have I?" Yes. That single word. Absolute. Unshakable. Clara believed him. The first snow came in mid-December. Light. Pretty. The second snow came 2 days later. Heavy. Brutal. The ranch hunkered down. Work shifted indoors. Men mended equipment. Clara caught up on paperwork. Danny caught a cold that turned into something worse. Clara nursed him. Knew the signs. Knew the danger. "We need a doctor," she told Ethan. "Nearest doctor's in Millbrook. 20 miles. Roads are impassable." "Then we treat him here." "You know how my mother was a nurse. I learned some." "Some enough." "It'll have to be." Clara worked through the night, kept Danny's fever down, kept fluids in him, watched for the crisis point. It came at dawn. Danny's breathing went shallow, skin going gray. Clara made a choice. She'd seen this before, knew what it meant. She grabbed Ethan. "I need you to hold him. Keep him still." "Why?" "Because I'm going to have to hurt him to save him." Ethan didn't argue, held Danny down. Clara did what she'd seen her mother do. Drained the infection. Cleaned the wound. Prayed it was enough. Danny screamed. Passed out. Clara kept working. By afternoon the fever broke. By evening Danny was breathing easier. By the next morning he was asking for food. Roy found Clara in the kitchen staring at cold coffee. "You saved him." "I got lucky." "Luck's what you call it when you don't want credit." He sat. "I was wrong about you. We all were. You were protecting Ethan. I understand that. He's protecting you too. You know that, right? From what? From whatever you're running from. He won't ask, won't push, but he knows. And he's making sure nobody else asks either." Clara's throat tightened. "Why would he do that?" "Because that's who he is. Finds broken things and fixes them without making them feel broken." Roy stood. "Don't waste it, Clara. Whatever chance you got here, don't waste it." He left her sitting there, thinking about chances, about being seen, about trust earned one hard day at a time, and about the fact that somewhere 600 miles away, Howard Breslin still had power, still had influence, still had her name attached to lies. Clara had run far enough to breathe, but not far enough to be free. Not yet. That freedom came with a price she didn't know she'd have to pay. Christmas week arrived cold and quiet. The ranch settled into a rhythm that felt almost like peace. Clara taught reading every evening now. 12 men crowded into the barn stumbling through McGuffey readers like children. She didn't mind. Watching Roy sound out 3-letter words with the same concentration he gave to breaking horses made something warm bloom in her chest. Ethan joined most nights. Sat in the back. Never asked questions, but listened to every answer. On Christmas Eve, the men pooled money for a small celebration. Nothing fancy. Roy shot a turkey. Danny made terrible cornbread. Someone produced a bottle of whiskey that got passed around the fire. Clara stayed in her room. Celebrations felt dangerous. Made her visible. A knock at her door. "You planning to hide all night?" Ethan's voice. She opened the door. "I'm not hiding. You're not celebrating either." "I don't celebrate well. Because of him, the man who destroyed your reputation." Clara's breath caught. "How did you talk in your sleep sometimes. Names, accusations." Ethan's expression didn't change. "Walls are thin." Shame flooded her. "I'm sorry." "For what?" "Having nightmares about the man who ruined your life." He stepped back. "Come eat turkey. Let the men thank you for teaching them. Then you can go back to hiding if you want." He walked away before she could argue. Clara followed. Because he was right, and because hiding was exhausting. The men cheered when she entered the barn, actually cheered. Danny handed her a plate. "You sit. We serve tonight." That's not necessary. It is. Roy's gruff voice. You've given us something nobody else bothered to. Least we can do is give you Christmas. Clara sat. Let them fuss. Let herself feel part of something. Ethan caught her eye across the fire. Nodded once. She nodded back. Later, after the men had drifted to bunks and beds, Clara helped clean up. Ethan worked beside her, silent, easy. Thank you, she said finally, for making me come out. You did that yourself. I just opened the door. You do that a lot. Open doors. Someone did it for me once. Figure I should pass it on. Clara wanted to ask who, wanted to ask 1,000 things, but the moment felt fragile, like speaking might break it. So she stayed quiet. Washed dishes next to a man who'd saved her life without asking for anything in return. And felt for the first time in months something close to happy. That feeling lasted 3 days. On December 28th, a writer came from Millbrook, young, nervous, asking for Ethan. Clara was in the office when Ethan brought him in. This is Tom Wheeler, works at the Millbrook Telegraph office. Tom twisted his hat. Mr. Cross, I got a message yesterday, for you, about... His eyes flicked to Clara. Maybe I should... Say it, Ethan said. Whatever it is. Tom pulled out a folded paper. Telegram from St. Louis. From a councilman, Howard Breslin. Says he's tracking a fugitive. Woman named Clara Whitmore. Last known heading west. Says she's wanted for fraud and theft. Says there's a $50 reward for information leading to her arrest. The room tilted. Clara grabbed the desk edge. That's not true. I know, Ethan said. She looked at him. How? Because I know you, and I know men like Breslin. He turned to Tom. Who else saw this telegram? Just me and the station master. But Mr. Cross, the station master's brother, is the sheriff. He'll have to... How much for your silence? Tom blinked. Sir. How much to keep your mouth shut about this telegram until I say otherwise? I can't. Ethan pulled out money. $50, same as the reward. You never saw this telegram. You never rode out here. Understand? Tom stared at the money, at Clara, back at the money. She steal from you? No. Hurt anybody? No. Then why's a councilman hunting her? Because she said no to him, and men like Breslin don't handle rejection well. Tom took the money. I never saw this telegram, but Mr. Cross, the station master, already knows. If he tells the sheriff, how long do I have? Day, maybe 2 if the roads stay bad. That'll do. Ethan handed him another $10. For your trouble, and your discretion. Tom left. Clara couldn't breathe. I have to leave. Now. Before what? You run again, end up frozen on another depot bench. He'll send the law. They'll arrest me. On what charges? Fraud requires proof. Theft requires evidence. All Breslin has is lies. Lies with power behind them. So we get proof. Truth. There is no proof. It's my word against his. And his word comes with a title and money and you've got me. Ethan's voice cut through her panic. You've got 12 men who'll swear to your character. You've got books that show honest work. You've got children learning to read because of you. That won't matter. Not against a councilman. Then we make it matter. Clara laughed. Bitter. Broken. You don't understand how this works. Men like Breslin win. Women like me disappear. That's the system. I understand that system's built on people staying quiet, not fighting back. Ethan stepped closer. You want to run? I won't stop you. But I think you're tired of running. I think you want to fight. Fighting gets me arrested. Maybe. Or maybe it gets you free. Clara looked at him, at the absolute certainty in his face. Why are you doing this? I told you, I couldn't save my sister. But I can help you. He paused. If you let me. Every instinct screamed run, hide, survive. But she was so tired of surviving. What do you need me to do? Ethan's expression shifted. Relief, determination. Tell me everything. Every detail about Breslin. What he did, who witnessed it, who might talk. So Clara told him. All of it. The locked door, the threat, the lies, the school board, Mrs. Brennan recanting, the systematic destruction of her life. Ethan listened, didn't interrupt, didn't judge. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. Mrs. Brennan's the weak point. She lied under pressure. Pressure can work both ways. She won't talk. Breslin probably paid her. Everyone talks. You just need the right leverage. And you have leverage. No. But I know someone who might. He left the office, came back an hour later with Roy. Tell him, Ethan said. Clara repeated the story. Shorter this time. Roy's face hardened with every word. Brennan. That name familiar. Should it be? Had a ranch hand 2 years back. Sean Brennan. Good kid. Got in trouble with debt. Left sudden-like. His mother was a widow. Struggled. Clara's pulse quickened. Tommy Brennan. That was her son. The student Breslin claimed I behaved inappropriately with. Roy nodded slowly. If Breslin paid her to lie, she might have used that money to clear her son's debt. Might have saved him. And she might feel guilty about it, Ethan added. Guilty people talk. If we can find her, make her understand what her lie cost Clara. She's in St. Louis, 600 miles away. Then we send someone to St. Louis. Who? Ethan looked at Roy. Roy sighed. I'm too old for this. You're the only one I trust to get it done. What exactly am I getting done? Finding Mrs. Brennan. Getting her to admit the truth. In writing. And if she won't, convince her. Ethan, Clara started. I'm not talking about threats. I'm talking about the truth. Her son's alive because of money she got from lying about you. Maybe she doesn't sleep well knowing that. Maybe she wants to make it right. Clara wanted to believe that. Wanted to believe someone felt guilty about destroying her. But hope felt dangerous. Even if we get a statement it won't stop Breslin, he'll just deny it. One step at a time, Ethan said. First we get the truth, then we figure out how to use it. Roy left the next morning, rode out before dawn. Didn't say goodbye. Clara waited, taught her classes, managed the books, pretended everything was normal. But every hoofbeat made her jump. Every rider in the distance looked like the sheriff. 3 days later, Danny came running. Sheriff's here, at the gate. Clara's stomach dropped. Already? Ethan appeared. Get to your room. Don't come out until I say. I can't hide forever. You can hide for now. Go. She went, sat on her bed, listened to voices outside, couldn't make out words. 20 minutes later, Ethan knocked. He's gone. Clara opened the door. What did he want? To ask about you. Said he got word a fugitive might be in the area. What did you tell him? That I employ a woman named Clara who keeps my books. That she's been here since November. That she's never mentioned St. Louis or any trouble with the law. Did he believe you? Doesn't matter if he believed me. Matters that he has no evidence. He could search the ranch. He could, but he won't. Not without a warrant. And he can't get a warrant without probable cause. Ethan's jaw set. I bought us time. But Clara, if Roy doesn't come back with that statement, I know. I'll have to run. Or stay and fight. With what hope? With the truth. And with people willing to stand behind it. Clara wanted to believe him. But belief required trust. And trust required courage she wasn't sure she had left. That night, she couldn't sleep. Paced her room. Calculated distances. Planned escape routes. Heard footsteps outside her door. Ethan's voice. You awake? Yes. Can I come in? She opened the door. He stood there, coat on hat in hand. Can't sleep either. No. Come on. I want to show you something. She followed him outside. He led her to the stable. Saddled 2 horses. Where are we going? Somewhere you can breathe. They rode for 30 minutes. out past the ranch boundaries, up a ridge, to a spot where the land opened up endless plains under winter stars. Ethan dismounted. Clara did the same. "This is where I come when the walls get too close," he said. "When the past gets too loud." "Does it work?" "Sometimes. Sometimes it just reminds me how small my problems are compared to how big the world is." Clara looked at the horizon. Nothing but space. Freedom. "I've been thinking about your sister," she said quietly. "About what you said. That you couldn't save her." "That's the truth." "You think saving me makes up for that?" Ethan was quiet for a long time. "No. Nothing makes up for that. But maybe it means her death wasn't completely meaningless. Maybe it taught me something about who I want to be." "Who's that?" "Someone who doesn't look away when people are hurting. Someone who acts instead of hoping someone else will." He turned to her. "You asked why I brought you here that night. Truth is, I brought you here because I couldn't live with myself if I didn't. That's not noble. That's selfish. I did it for me as much as for you." Clara felt tears prick her eyes. "There's nothing selfish about saving someone's life." "There is, if you're doing it to save yourself from guilt. Then we're both selfish, because I'm staying here as much to hide from Breslin as to build something new." Ethan almost smiled. Maybe selfish people deserve second chances too. Maybe. They stood there, two broken people under stars that didn't care about their brokenness. And Clara felt something shift. Not love. Not yet. But the beginning of it. The recognition that this man understood her in ways no one else did. That scared her more than Breslin ever could. Because loving someone meant giving them the power to destroy you. And she'd already been destroyed once. Roy came back on January 6th. Rode in at dusk. Exhausted. Triumphant. Clara met him at the stable. "Did you—" He handed her a folded paper. "Read it." Clara unfolded it. Mrs. Brennan's statement. Written in shaking handwriting. Witnessed by a notary. "I, Margaret Brennan, hereby confess that I lied under oath regarding Clara Whitmore. Councilman Howard Breslin paid me $200 to claim I was not present when Miss Whitmore tutored my son. The truth is, I was present. Miss Whitmore behaved appropriately at all times. I lied to save my son from debtor's prison. I am deeply sorry for the harm I caused. This statement is given freely and truthfully." Clara couldn't speak. "There's more," Roy said. "Tommy Brennan gave a statement too. Says Breslin coached him on what to say. Threatened to have him arrested if he didn't cooperate." "How did you get them to talk?" "Told them the truth, that you lost everything because of their lies, that Breslin was hunting you, that a woman's life was on the line." Roy's expression softened. "Mrs. Brennan cried for an hour, said she's been sick with guilt, said she wanted to make it right but was too afraid. And now she's more afraid of living with the lie than facing Breslin." Clara clutched the papers. "This changes everything." "Maybe. Or maybe it just gives you a fighting chance." Ethan appeared. "You got it." Roy nodded. Ethan read the statements. His expression shifted satisfaction, determination, something darker. "This is enough. We can send this to the school board. Clear your name. Breslin will deny it. Let him. We have witnesses now. Signed statements. Truth." Clara wanted to believe it. But fear had lived in her bones too long. What if it's not enough? What if— Then we fight harder. Ethan's voice was steel. "But Clara, you can't keep waiting for permission to live your life. At some point you have to decide you're worth fighting for." The words hit like a fist. You're worth fighting for. When had anyone ever said that to her? When had she ever believed it? Clara looked at the papers in her hands, at Roy's tired face, at Ethan's unwavering certainty, at the choice in front of her. Run again, hide again, survive again, or stand, fight, risk everything for the chance to be free. "Send the statements," she said. "To the school board, to the superintendent, to anyone who'll listen." Ethan's face broke into something close to a smile. You sure? No, but I'm tired of being afraid. That's a start. That night, Ethan wrote letters. Clara helped. They laid out the case point by point, attached the statements, demanded a formal investigation, sent them to St. Louis by express mail, and waited. Days crawled by. Clara taught classes, did the books, pretended her heart wasn't hammering every time a writer appeared. 2 weeks later, a response came. Not from the school board, from Breslin. The letter was short. Vicious. Miss Whitmore, you've made a grave mistake. Challenging me will only make things worse. Drop this matter immediately, or face consequences beyond your imagination. You cannot win. Women like you never do. Clara's hands shook holding it. Ethan read over her shoulder. His jaw went tight. He's scared. He's threatening me. Same thing. Men like Breslin only threaten when they're losing control, or when they're about to destroy you completely. Let him try. Clara looked at him. You don't understand what he's capable of. I understand men who use power as a weapon. I understand cowards who hide behind titles. Ethan's voice dropped. And I understand that you're not alone anymore. Whatever he sends, we face it together. Clara wanted to believe him, but Breslin's words echoed. Women like you never win. What if he was right? What if he was right? The question haunted Clara for 3 days. Then Breslin proved he wasn't bluffing. A federal marshal arrived on January 23rd, rode up with official papers and a face carved from granite. Asked for Clara Whitmore by name. Ethan met him at the gate. Clara watched from the office window, heart in her throat. You have business with Miss Whitmore. The marshal pulled out a document. Warrant for her arrest. Fraud. Impersonating a certified teacher. Theft of wages under false pretenses. On whose authority? Councilman Howard Breslin of St. Louis. He's filed formal charges. I'm authorized to transport her back for trial. Clara's knees buckled. She grabbed the windowsill. This was it. The end. But Ethan didn't move aside. You have evidence supporting these charges. I have a warrant. That's evidence enough. Not in my book. You show me proof she committed a crime, I'll hand her over myself. But I won't let you arrest someone based on one man's word. The marshal's expression hardened. You're interfering with federal business. I'm protecting my employee from false accusations. There's a difference. Step aside, Mr. Cross. No. The word hung in the air. Absolute. Immovable. The marshal's hand moved toward his gun. Roy appeared behind Ethan, then Danny, then 6 more ranch hands. Not threatening, just present, just standing. The marshal looked at them, at Ethan, back at his warrant. I can come back with more men. You can. But you'll still need evidence, and you won't get it because it doesn't exist. Councilman Breslin says, Councilman Breslin is a liar who's angry a woman said no to him. That's what this is about. Not fraud, not theft. Revenge. The marshal studied Ethan. You got proof of that. I've got signed statements from witnesses who'll testify Breslin paid them to lie about Miss Whitmore. I've got ledgers showing honest work. I've got a dozen men who'll swear to her character. And I've got a federal warrant. Then go get a judge to review it. Show him the evidence. Let him decide if the warrant's valid. Until then, Miss Whitmore stays here. On my land. Under my protection. The marshal's jaw tightened. You're making this harder than it needs to be. I'm making it as hard as it should be. Arresting innocent people should never be easy. For a long moment, nobody moved. Then the marshal folded his warrant. I'll be back, with a judge, and if you're wrong about her, Mr. Cross, you'll face charges too. I'll take that risk. The marshal rode away. Ethan waited until he was out of sight before his shoulders sagged. Clara ran out. You can't do this. You can't risk yourself for me. Already did. He'll come back, with more men, with a judge who'll side with Breslin. Maybe, or maybe he'll actually look at the evidence and see the truth. Truth doesn't matter when power's involved. Ethan grabbed her shoulders, not rough, firm. Then we make it matter, We fight harder. We don't give up. Why? Clara's voice broke. Why are you doing this? Because it's right. Because you deserve better. Because I... He stopped, released her, stepped back. Because I can't stand by and watch injustice happen. Not again. Clara saw something in his face. Something beyond duty, beyond principle. Something that terrified her because she felt it too. Ethan. Get inside. We need to prepare. For what? For war. War came faster than expected. By evening, word had spread. The marshal's visit, the warrant, the standoff. The neighboring ranchers started talking. Some supportive, most cautious. A few openly hostile. A delegation arrived the next morning. 3 ranch owners, well-dressed, well-connected. Their spokesman was a man named Jeremiah Cobb, owned half the land in the county, had the sheriff's ear. Ethan, we need to talk. They gathered in the barn. Clara stayed in the house but heard everything through the thin walls. You're harboring a fugitive, Cobb said. That's a problem for all of us. I'm protecting an innocent woman from false charges. You don't know she's innocent. I know her. That's enough. It's not enough for us. We've got reputations to maintain, businesses to protect. We can't be associated with criminal activity. There's no criminal activity here. A federal marshal disagrees. A federal marshal has a piece of paper from a corrupt councilman. That's not the same as evidence. Another rancher spoke. Ethan, we respect what you've built here, but you're putting us all at risk. If this woman's trouble, her name is Clara, and she's not trouble. She's a victim, according to you. But Breslin's a councilman. He's got authority. He's got connections. Going against him could hurt us all. Cobb leaned forward. We're not asking you to throw her to the wolves. We're asking you to let the law handle it. Turn her over. Let her have her day in court. Court's 600 miles away, run by Breslin's friends. She won't get justice there. Maybe not. But that's not your responsibility. Then whose is it? Silence. Ethan's voice dropped. Dangerous. Let me be clear. Clara stays. Anyone who has a problem with that can take it up with me directly, but I won't apologize for protecting someone who's done nothing wrong. Cobb stood. You're making enemies, Ethan. I've had enemies before. I'll have them again. Doesn't change what's right. The delegation left. Roy appeared beside Ethan. That went well. They'll be back, with pressure, with threats. What do? We hold the line. But the line started cracking immediately. 2 ranch hands quit that afternoon, said they couldn't work for someone defying the law, took their wages and left. 3 more wavered, Danny among them. Clara found him in the bunkhouse packing. You're leaving. Danny wouldn't meet her eyes. I can't afford trouble, Miss Clara. I got family depending on me. If I'm associated with a criminal, that's what you think I am. I don't know what to think, but I know a federal marshal came here. I know important people are angry. I know staying might cost me everything. And running won't. Running keeps me alive, keeps me employed, keeps me out of jail. Clara felt something crack. I taught you to read. You were sounding out 3-letter words when I got here. Now you're writing letters home. That was me. I did that. I know. And you're still leaving. Danny finally looked at her. Shame and fear warring in his face. I'm sorry, I really am, but I can't. You can't stand up for what's right when it costs something. I understand. Clara turned away. I hope the price of your safety doesn't keep you awake at night. She left before he could respond. That night, only 8 men remained, half the crew, the bare minimum to run the ranch. Ethan called a meeting. Anyone else planning to leave, say it now. No hard feelings. Silence. Good, because things are going to get worse before they get better. The marshal will come back. Cobb and his friends will apply pressure. We might lose contracts, lose business, lose standing in this community. He looked at each man. I won't blame anyone who walks away. But if you stay, I need to know you're committed, that you'll stand with me, with Clara, no matter what. Roy spoke first. I'm staying. Already lived through one fight against corrupt bastards. Might as well live through another. The others nodded, murmured agreement. Clara watched from the doorway. These men strangers 3 months ago risking everything for her. The weight of it crushed her chest. After the meeting, she found Ethan alone. I should leave, before you lose everything. I'm not losing anything worth keeping. Your ranch, your reputation, your business. I can rebuild a business. Can't rebuild my conscience if I let you get arrested for crimes you didn't commit. Why does your conscience matter more than your livelihood? Ethan looked at her, really looked. Because I spent 4 years rebuilding this ranch. 4 years of backbreaking work. And you know what I learned? None of it means anything if I can't look at myself in the mirror. If I can't sleep at night knowing I did right by people who needed help. He stepped closer. You matter more than land, Clara. More than money. More than reputation. I'm not worth all this. Let me decide what you're worth. The intensity in his voice stopped her breath. Ethan. Hoofbeats. Urgent. Coming fast. Roy burst in. Boss, fire. At the Mackenzie place. Their barn's burning. Get the men. We ride now. They rode hard. Reached the Mackenzie ranch in 30 minutes. Flames already consuming the barn. Family and neighbors fighting the blaze with buckets. Ethan's men joined immediately. Clara helped carry water. Worked until her arms screamed and her lungs burned. They saved the livestock. Lost the barn. As dawn broke, Mrs. Mackenzie approached Clara, older woman, weathered, exhausted. Thank you for helping. Of course. I heard about your trouble with the marshal. Clara tensed. Yes. My husband thinks you're trouble. Thinks Ethan's a fool for protecting you. And you. Mrs. Mackenzie looked at the smoldering ruins. I think anyone who helps fight fires in the middle of the night isn't trouble. I think Mr. Cross is a better judge of character than my husband. She paused. For what it's worth, I don't believe you're a criminal. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Believing something and standing up for it are different things. Most folks around here won't risk themselves for you, even if they think you're innocent. I understand. Do you? Because staying here means facing that. Facing people who'll judge you, shun you, hurt Mr. Cross because of you. I know. And you're staying anyway. Clara thought about running, about the depot bench, about freezing alone in the dark, about Ethan's certainty, Roy's loyalty, the men who stayed. I'm staying. Mrs. Mackenzie nodded. Then God help you both. They rode back at noon, exhausted, filthy, quiet. At the ranch a boy waited, maybe 12, thin, scared. Mr. Cross, my sister's sick, real sick. My pa sent me to find help. Where's your pa? Working Mr. Cobb's cattle drive. Won't be back for 2 weeks. Your mother? Dead. 3 years now. The boy's voice cracked. It's just me and Sarah's burning up. Won't wake up proper. I don't know what to do. Ethan looked at Clara. She knew what he was asking. Where do you live? She asked the boy. 5 miles south, near the creek. I'll get my supplies. Clara, Ethan started. A child is sick. We're going. If the marshal comes back, then he comes back, but I won't let a little girl die because I'm scared. Ethan's expression shifted. Pride, fear, something deeper. I'm coming with you. They rode south. The boy led them to a shack that barely qualified as a house. Inside, a girl lay on a cot, maybe 8, soaked with sweat, breathing shallow. Clara knelt beside her, felt her forehead, checked her pulse, lifted her eyelids. How long has she been like this? 2 days. Started with a cough, got worse fast. Clara examined her carefully, recognized the symptoms, knew what it was. Pneumonia. Advanced. Dangerous. We need to get her fever down, keep fluids in her, monitor her breathing. She looked at Ethan. This will take days, maybe a week. You can't stay here that long. The marshal. I know the risks. Clara. She'll die without help. You know she will. Ethan looked at the girl, at the boy's desperate face, at Clara's determined expression. Then I'm staying too. You can't. The ranch? Roy can handle it. I'm not leaving you alone out here. For 3 days they worked in shifts. Clara treating Sarah. Ethan helping the boy keep the house running, fetching water, making food, keeping watch. Sarah's fever raged, broke briefly, spiked again. Clara barely slept, monitored every breath, every heartbeat, fought death with everything she knew. On the 4th day, Sarah's breathing changed, went ragged, desperate, the crisis point. Clara had seen this before, knew what it meant. She called Ethan over. I need to drain fluid from her lungs. It's dangerous. Could kill her if I do it wrong. But if I don't do it, she'll drown in her own fluids. Can you do it? I've seen it done. Never done it myself. That's not what I asked. Clara looked at Sarah's gray face, at the boy watching from the corner, at the choice in front of her. Try and possibly fail. Or don't try and definitely lose her. Yes, I can do it. Then do it. Clara prepared her instruments, boiled water, steadied her hands. Hold her still, she'll fight. Ethan held Sarah. The boy turned away. Clara made her choice, made her cut, did what needed to be done. Sarah screamed, thrashed, went limp. For 10 seconds Clara thought she'd killed her. Then Sarah gasped, coughed, breathed, really breathed. The fluid drained, the color returned. The crisis passed. Clara collapsed against the wall, shaking, crying, alive. Ethan pulled her into his arms, held her while she fell apart. You saved her. I almost killed her. But you didn't. You saved her. Sarah slept peacefully for the first time in days. The boy cried, thanked Clara until she couldn't take it anymore. On the 5th day, Sarah woke up asking for water. On the 6th day, she sat up and smiled. On the 7th day, the marshal came back, found them at the shack, with witnesses, with a judge. Clara Whitmore, you're under arrest. Ethan stood between them. On what grounds? The judge, elderly stern, spoke. Councilman Breslin has provided additional evidence, testimony from school board members, documentation of fraudulent credentials. Miss Whitmore will be transported to St. Louis for trial. She's been nursing a sick child for a week. She can't travel. The child appears well enough. Miss Whitmore has no further excuse to delay justice. Justice. Clara stepped forward, face streaked with exhaustion, hands still stained from saving a life. You want to talk about justice? This man, she pointed at the judge, hasn't looked at a single piece of evidence supporting my innocence, hasn't questioned Breslin's motives, hasn't considered that a powerful man might lie to punish a woman who rejected him. Miss Whitmore, I suggest you remain silent. Why? Because speaking truth makes men uncomfortable. Because challenging authority is inappropriate for women. Her voice rose. I've been silent. I've been obedient. I've run and hid and let liars destroy my name. I'm done being silent. The boy stepped forward. She saved my sister. Sarah would be dead if not for her. That's irrelevant to the charges. It's relevant to who she is. She's not a criminal. She's a healer, a teacher, a good person. The marshal moved toward Clara. Ma'am, please come quietly. Ethan blocked him again. No. Mr. Cross, I can arrest you too. Then arrest me, because I'm not letting you take her without a fight. Roy appeared, on horseback, with 8 ranch hands, armed. Boss needs something? The marshal's hand moved toward his gun. The judge raised his hand. Everyone calm down. Mr. Cross, this doesn't need to become violent. Then don't make it violent. Review the evidence. Actually look at the statements we provided. Question Breslin's motives. Do your job. I am doing my job. The law is supposed to protect people, not powerful men's egos. For a long moment, everything balanced on a knife's edge. Then Sarah's voice, small, weak. "Please don't take Miss Clara. She saved me. She's good." The judge looked at the girl, at Clara, at the standoff forming. "I'll review the statements. Give me 2 days. If the evidence supports the warrant, Miss Whitmore will be arrested. If not..." He looked at the marshal. "We'll reconsider." It wasn't victory, but it was time. The marshal and judge left, reluctantly. Clara's legs gave out. Ethan caught her. 2 days. We make our case. We fight. How they've already decided. Then we change their minds. But Clara knew. Deep in her bones, men like Breslin didn't lose. Women like her didn't win. The system was built for this. And 2 days wouldn't be enough to tear it down. And 2 days wouldn't be enough to tear it down. Unless they stopped trying to work within it. That thought came to Clara in the wagon ride back to the ranch. Ethan drove. Roy rode ahead. The boy and Sarah stayed behind with neighbors who'd finally shown up after hearing about the standoff. "You're quiet," Ethan said, thinking. "About running. About fighting differently." He glanced at her. "Explain." "The judge, the marshal, the law, they're all part of Breslin's system. They know him, trust him, respect his authority. We can't win playing by their rules. So what do you suggest? We change the game, make this public, make it so big they can't ignore it." "How?" Clara's mind raced. "Breslin's power comes from reputation. He's a respected councilman, civic leader, pillar of the community. What if we destroy that reputation? With what? The statements we have prove he lied, but proving it to a judge is different from proving it to the public. Then we don't prove it to a judge. We prove it to everyone else, the newspapers, the town, the voters who put him in office." Ethan pulled the wagon to a stop, turned to face her. "You want to go to war with a councilman in the press, huh? I want to make him defend himself publicly, force him to explain why he's hunting a schoolteacher 600 miles away. Make people ask questions." "That's dangerous." "Everything's dangerous now. At least this way we fight on our terms." Ethan studied her. "You've changed." "What do you mean?" 3 months ago, you were ready to freeze to death on a bench rather than fight. Now you want to take on a councilman in the court of public opinion. 3 months ago, I had nothing to fight for. Now I do." Something passed between them. Unspoken. Electric. Roy's voice broke the moment. "Boss, company coming." A rider approached. Not the marshal. Someone else. Older. Distinguished. Riding an expensive horse. The man stopped beside the wagon. Tipped his hat to Clara. "Miss Whitmore, I'm Judge Marcus Caldwell, from Kansas City." Clara's stomach tightened. "Another judge. Not here to arrest you. Here to help." Ethan's hand moved near his rifle. "Help how?" Caldwell dismounted. "I received correspondence from a Mrs. Margaret Brennan. She sent me copies of the statements she gave regarding Councilman Breslin's conduct. Asked me to investigate." "Why would she contact you?" "Because 20 years ago, I ruled against Breslin in a land dispute case. He's hated me ever since. Mrs. Brennan thought I might be receptive to evidence of his corruption." He pulled out papers. She was right. Clara couldn't breathe. "You believe her?" "I believe the evidence. Signed statements, notarized confessions, a clear pattern of abuse of power." He looked at Clara. "I also made inquiries in St. Louis. Found 3 other women who claim Breslin destroyed their reputations after they rejected his advances. None would testify publicly, they're too afraid, but privately they confirmed the pattern." "Why are you telling us this?" "Because the judge reviewing your case, Judge Hartman, is Breslin's brother-in-law. He'll rule against you no matter what evidence you present." The world tilted. "Then we've already lost," Clara whispered. "Not necessarily. Hartman has jurisdiction here, but I have jurisdiction in Kansas City. If you agree to relocate their file charges against Breslin in my court, I can guarantee you a fair hearing." "Relocate," Ethan said. That means abandoning the ranch. Temporarily, until the case is resolved. How long? Months, maybe longer. Breslin will fight this with everything he has. Clara looked at Ethan, at the man who'd saved her life, who'd risked everything to protect her. I can't ask you to abandon your ranch. You're not asking. I'm choosing. Ethan. Do you trust Judge Caldwell? Caldwell spoke before Clara could answer. Mr. Cross, I understand your skepticism, but I've spent 30 years fighting corruption in this territory. I don't take bribes, don't play politics, and I don't let powerful men destroy innocent people without consequence. Ethan studied him. You know what this will cost us, the travel, the lost income, the time. I do. And you think we can win. I think you can get justice. Whether that's the same as winning depends on what you're fighting for. Ethan turned to Clara. Your call. Clara looked at this stranger offering her hope. At the impossible choice. Stay and face Hartman's rigged ruling, or go and risk everything on an honest judge in an unfamiliar city. If we go to Kansas City, what happens in 2 days when Hartman expects his answer? I'll file an injunction, argue that Hartman has a conflict of interest, buy you time to relocate and prepare your case properly. Breslin will know. He'll come after us. Let him. In my courtroom, he's just another citizen, not a councilman, not a power broker, just a man accused of abuse of authority. Clara felt something stir, not hope exactly, but possibility. How long do we have to decide? Tonight. I need to file the injunction tomorrow morning or it's too late. Ethan looked at Roy. Get the men. We need to talk. They gathered in the barn, all 8 remaining hands. Clara told them everything. Caldwell's offer, the choice, what it meant. Silence when she finished. Finally Roy spoke. Boss, you leave for months, this place falls apart. Cobb and his friends will swoop in. Buy your contracts. Poach your buyers. You come back to nothing. I know. And you're still considering it. I am. Why? Ethan looked at Clara. Because some things matter more than business. Roy shook his head. You're a fool. Probably. But I'm a fool with a choice. Stay and watch an innocent woman get arrested for crimes she didn't commit, or go and fight for something that matters. She's not your responsibility. Neither was my sister, but I carry that weight every day. I won't carry Clara's too. The men shifted, uncomfortable, uncertain. One of them, a quiet hand named Thomas, spoke. What do you need from us? Honestly, I need you to keep this place running while I'm gone. Roy can manage operations. But it won't be easy. You'll be short-handed, overworked, and you might not have jobs when I get back. That's a hell of a sales pitch, boss. It's the truth. I won't lie to you. This could cost everything. Thomas looked at Clara. You really didn't do what they're accusing you of. No, I refused a powerful man's advances. He destroyed my life for it. And now this boss of mine is destroying his life to help you. I never asked him to. Didn't say you did, just stating facts. Thomas looked at Ethan. My sister got ruined by a rich man once. Different circumstances, same outcome. Nobody helped her. She ended up dead before 20. His jaw set. I'll stay. Keep this place running. For your fool choice. One by one the others agreed. Not all of them. 3 said they needed to find other work. Couldn't afford the uncertainty. Clara didn't blame them. But 5 stayed. 5 men willing to risk their livelihoods for a principle. That night Clara found Ethan alone in his office, packing documents, preparing to leave. You don't have to do this. We've had this conversation. I know. But now it's real. Now you're actually abandoning everything you built. I'm not abandoning it. I'm trusting good people to maintain it. What if they can't? What if you lose it all? Ethan stopped packing, looked at her. Then I lose it. I've lost everything before, built it back, can do it again. Not if you're financially ruined helping me. Clara, stop. Stop what? Stop trying to convince me you're not worth it. Stop carrying guilt that isn't yours. Stop believing you deserve less than anyone else. I'm a burden, an obligation you took on because of your sister. You're not my sister. His voice cut sharp. And you're not a burden. You're a woman who got destroyed for having principles, who's still standing despite everything, who saved a child's life knowing it might cost her freedom. He stepped closer. You think I'm doing this out of guilt or obligation? I'm doing this because you matter. Because what's happening to you is wrong. Because He stopped, swallowed hard. Because what? Ethan turned away. Because I respect you, and I won't abandon people I respect. Clara felt the words he didn't say hanging between them. We should leave at dawn, she said quietly, before Hartman can act. Agreed. They worked through the night, packing, planning, preparing for a journey that might end in victory or complete ruin. At dawn, Judge Caldwell returned. Decision. We're coming, Ethan said. Good, we ride fast. Stay ahead of news. With luck, we'll reach Kansas City before Breslin knows you've left. They rode out at sunrise. Clara on horseback now Ethan had taught her. Roy stayed behind to manage the ranch. The others waved them off. 3 days of hard riding. Stopping only to rest the horses. Sleeping rough. Pushing forward. On the second day, they passed through a small town, bought supplies, heard news. Councilman Breslin had arrived in Millbrook, was demanding Clara's immediate arrest, was offering $100 reward now. He's escalating, Caldwell said. Means he's worried. Or determined, Clara said. Same thing with men like him. They rode harder, reached Kansas City on the third night. Exhausted, filthy, alive. Caldwell took them to a boarding house, secured rooms, gave them space to breathe. Clara collapsed on her bed, stared at the ceiling, tried to process that she'd just crossed 300 miles in 3 days, that she was in a city she'd never seen, that her fate rested with a judge she'd known for 72 hours. A knock at her door. Ethan. You alive? Barely. Same. Caldwell wants to meet tomorrow. Prep for the hearing. When's the hearing? Week from now. He's expediting it. A week to prepare against a man who's had months to build his case. We have truth on our side. Breslin has power. Power's not absolute. Clara sat up. Isn't it? Every time I've faced power, I've lost. The school board, the town, the law. Power wins. Truth just makes you feel noble while you lose. Ethan sat beside her. My sister believed that. Believed power was absolute. Believed fighting was pointless. So she walked into a blizzard and gave up. Maybe she was right. No, she was broken. There's a difference. You're not broken, Clara. Bent, maybe. Exhausted, definitely. But not broken. How do you know? Because broken people don't save children, don't teach reading to ranch hands, don't stand up to federal marshals. He met her eyes. Broken people don't fight. You're still fighting. Clara felt tears burn. What if I lose? Then you lose knowing you fought. That's more than most people can say. Is that enough? It was enough for my sister. In her last letter, the one I found after she died, she wrote that she wished she'd fought, wished she'd stood up, wished she'd believed she was worth saving. His voice cracked. I can't give her that chance, but I can give it to you. Clara reached for his hand, held it, felt the calluses, the strength, the steadiness. Thank you for everything. Don't thank me yet. We haven't won. We haven't lost either. Something shifted in his expression. No, we haven't. They sat there. Two survivors holding on to hope by their fingernails. The week passed in a blur. Meetings with Caldwell, reviewing evidence, preparing testimony, rehearsing answers. Caldwell was thorough, relentless. Pushed Clara to remember every detail, every interaction with Breslin, every witness, every lie. He'll attack your character, Caldwell warned. Call you a liar, a seductress. Claim you invited his attention, then cried victim. I know. You need to stay calm. Don't get defensive. Don't get emotional. Just tell the truth clearly and simply. What if the truth isn't enough? Then we make it enough. We have Mrs. Brennan's statement, Tommy's testimony, your employment records showing honest work, character witnesses from the ranch. He leaned forward. But Clara, you need to understand something. This isn't just about proving Breslin lied. It's about proving the system failed you. That's a harder fight. Why? Because admitting the system failed means admitting everyone who worked within it, judges, school boards, law enforcement, failed too. People don't like admitting that. Easier to blame the victim than the system. So I'm still the problem. In their eyes, yes. Our job is to change their eyes. The day before the hearing, Clara couldn't sleep. Paced her room, replayed every possible question, every attack, every outcome. A knock at midnight. Ethan. Again. Can't sleep either. No. Want company? She let him in. They sat by the window, watched the city sleep. What if we lose tomorrow? She asked. Then we appeal, fight in a higher court. And if we lose there, then we keep fighting until we win or run out of courts. That could take years. I've got years. Clara looked at him. Why are you really doing this? And don't say respect. Don't say obligation. Tell me the truth. Ethan was quiet for a long time. Because watching you fight made me remember what it feels like to stand for something. Because you're the bravest person I've ever met. Because... He stopped. Started again. Because somewhere along the way protecting you stopped being about my sister and started being about you. Clara's breath caught. Ethan, I'm not asking for anything, not expecting anything. Just want you to know that whatever happens tomorrow, you're not alone. You've never been alone, not since that depot bench. Tears spilled. Clara didn't stop them. I'm scared. I know. What if I freeze up there? What if I can't speak? What if... Then I'll speak. Caldwell will speak. The evidence will speak. But Clara, you won't freeze. You didn't freeze when the marshal came. Didn't freeze when you saved Sarah. Didn't freeze when you faced down a town that wanted you gone. You're not going to freeze now. You sound certain. I am. I've watched you for 4 months. Seen you survive things that would break most people. Tomorrow's just one more thing to survive. And if surviving isn't enough, then we make it enough. Morning came too fast. The courthouse was smaller than Clara expected. Plain, functional, filled with people she didn't know. And one she did. Howard Breslin sat at the prosecutor's table. Expensive suit. Confident smile. Eyes that tracked Clara like a predator watching prey. She almost ran. Ethan's hand on her back. Breathe. He's here. Good. Means he's worried. He looks confident. He's performing. Don't let him intimidate you. Judge Caldwell entered, called the court to order. The hearing began. Breslin's lawyer spoke first. Painted Clara as a manipulative woman who'd fabricated accusations to avoid consequences for fraud. Called her credentials questionable, her character suspect, her motives malicious. Miss Whitmore preyed on Mr. Breslin's kindness. When he offered legitimate professional assistance, she twisted his words, made false accusations, destroyed his reputation with lies. Clara's hands shook. Then came Breslin's testimony, smooth, practiced, believable. I only tried to help Miss Whitmore. She was struggling financially. I offered to connect her with better-paying positions. She misconstrued my intentions. When I tried to clarify, she became hostile, threatened to ruin me if I didn't secure her a promotion she hadn't earned. Lies. All lies. But he told them well. Caldwell cross-examined. Mr. Breslin, why did you lock the door when you met with Miss Whitmore? I didn't. Her account says you did. Her account is false. Mrs. Brennan testified you paid her to lie about witnessing inappropriate behavior. Mrs. Brennan is mistaken. I donated to her family during a difficult time. She's confused financial assistance with bribery. Convenient confusion. Objection. Counsel is editorializing. Back and forth, thrust and parry. Breslin never wavered, never cracked. Then it was Clara's turn. She stood, walked to the witness stand, felt every eye on her. Caldwell asked her to tell her story. From the beginning. She did. Slowly. Clearly. Every detail. The locked door. The threat. The accusations. The systematic destruction of her life. Breslin's lawyer attacked immediately. Miss Whitmore, isn't it true you were fired for incompetence? No. The school board says otherwise. The school board believed lies told by your client. Or they believe the truth, and you're lying now. I'm not lying. Can you prove that? Can he prove I am? He's a respected councilman. You're an unemployed teacher with a history of dishonesty. I have no history of dishonesty. I have a history of refusing powerful men. That's your narrative. Doesn't make it true. Clara felt control slipping. Mrs. Brennan confessed. Tommy Brennan confessed. 2 witnesses who initially lied have now told the truth. 2 witnesses who may have been coerced by Mr. Cross, a man who clearly has inappropriate feelings for you. Ethan stood. Objection. Mr. Cross, sit down or I'll have you removed, the judge said. Breslin's lawyer smiled. Isn't it true, Miss Whitmore, that you've been living at Mr. Cross's ranch in close quarters, unchaperoned? I've been working for Mr. Cross, legitimately. Working. Is that what you call it? Objection? Caldwell's voice rang out. Counsel is attacking the witness's character without evidence. Sustained. Move on. But the damage was done. The implication hung in the air. The hearing dragged on for hours. More testimony. More evidence. More attacks. By the end, Clara felt flayed open, exposed, raw. Caldwell presented the written statements, the employment records, character witnesses from the ranch hands who'd made the journey to testify. Breslin's lawyer dismissed it all. Paid associates defending their employer's questionable relationship. When it finally ended, Judge Caldwell adjourned to consider. I'll have a ruling tomorrow. 24 more hours of waiting. That night, Clara couldn't stop shaking. Ethan found her in the courthouse garden, sitting alone in the dark. You did well in there. I fell apart. You told the truth. That's all you could do. It wasn't enough. You saw them. They didn't believe me. Some did. Not enough. Ethan sat beside her. Whatever happens tomorrow, you fought. That matters. Does it? If I lose, Breslin wins. The system wins. Nothing changes. You change. You stood up. That's not nothing. Clara looked at him, at the man who'd risked everything for her. If I lose tomorrow, I'm going to prison. For months. Maybe years. While the case appeals. Then I'll wait. For what? For you. The simplicity of it broke her. Why would you do that? Ethan reached for her hand. Because I love you. The words hung in the night air. Clara couldn't breathe. You can't. Too late. You barely know me. I know you fought harder than anyone I've ever met. I know you're kind and brave and stubborn. I know you saved a child knowing it might cost you everything. I know I want to stand beside you, whatever happens, however long it takes. I might go to prison. Then I'll visit. I might lose everything. So might I. Doesn't change how I feel. Clara felt something crack open in her chest. All the fear, all the pain, all the hope she'd been too afraid to feel. I'm terrified. Me too. Of the ruling, of losing you. She kissed him. Desperate. Necessary. Like breathing. When they broke apart, Ethan was smiling. Whatever happens tomorrow, we face it together. Together. They sat there until dawn. 2 people holding on to each other and hoping it would be enough. The ruling came at noon. Judge Caldwell's face was unreadable. After careful review of the evidence, I find that Councilman Breslin's accusations lack credible foundation. The testimony of Mrs. Brennan and Tommy Brennan, while given under previous duress, rings true. Miss Whitmore's employment records and character witnesses support her account. Therefore, I am dismissing all charges against Clara Whitmore. Furthermore, I am recommending an investigation into Councilman Breslin's conduct for abuse of power and witness tampering. The courtroom erupted. Breslin stood. "This is an outrage I demand." "You'll demand nothing in my courtroom, Mr. Breslin. You're dismissed. And if you set foot in my jurisdiction again with false accusations, I'll hold you in contempt." Breslin's face went purple. He stormed out. Clara couldn't move, couldn't process. Free. She was free. Ethan pulled her into his arms. Caldwell approached. "Miss Whitmore, you're cleared of all charges. Your name is restored." "Thank you for everything." "Don't thank me, thank your courage. Not many would have fought like you did." That night they celebrated. Small, quiet, just Clara, Ethan, and the ranch hands who'd come to testify. But Clara felt hollow. "We won," Ethan said. "Why aren't you happy?" "Because Breslin's still out there, still powerful, still able to do this to someone else." "Not if the investigation Caldwell called for actually happens." "You think it will?" "I think we started something. Maybe it's enough." Clara looked at him, at the possibility in his eyes. "Maybe it is." Maybe it was enough. But the doubt followed Clara all the way back to the ranch. 3 days of travel, Ethan beside her. The ranch hands trailing behind. Each mile bringing them closer to whatever Breslin had left in his wake. They crested the final ridge at sunset. The ranch spread below them. Clara's breath caught. Half the fencing was down. The barn door hung crooked. Livestock scattered across neighboring land. "He was here," Ethan said quietly. They rode down, found Roy waiting, face grim, jaw set. "When?" Ethan asked. 4 days ago, night after word reached Millbrook about the ruling. 20 men, maybe more. Didn't burn anything too obvious. Just destroyed what they could. Cut fences, scattered cattle, spooked the horses, smashed the equipment we couldn't hide." "Anyone hurt?" "Thomas took a beating trying to stop them. He'll heal. But boss, they left a message." Roy handed over a note. Ethan read it, handed it to Clara. "This isn't over. You humiliated me. I'll destroy everything you've built, starting with this pathetic ranch and ending with her." Clara felt ice in her veins. "He's not going to stop." "No," Ethan said. "He's not." "Then what do we do?" Roy spoke up. "We rebuild. Again. Like we always do. And when he comes back, destroys it again. Then we rebuild again, until he runs out of money or spite, whichever comes first." Clara looked at the damage, at the work ahead, at the endless cycle of destruction and rebuilding. There has to be another way. "What are you thinking?" Ethan asked. "I'm thinking Breslin's power comes from secrecy, from women being too afraid to speak up, from the system protecting him." She turned to face them. "What if we take away the secrecy, make it impossible for him to hide? We already exposed him in court, in one city. But how many people actually know what happened? How many women in St. Louis know they're not alone, that Breslin's pattern of abuse is documented?" Ethan's expression shifted. "You want to go public, bigger than the trial." "I want to make sure every woman he ever threatened knows she can fight back, that there's proof, that she's believed." Roy shook his head. "That's dangerous. Breslin still has friends, still has influence. So we build more influence. We find every woman he hurt, give them a voice, create a record so complete that ignoring it means being complicit." "And how do you plan to do that from a ranch in Kansas?" Clara was quiet for a moment. Then, "We start here. Build something that can't be destroyed by one man's spite. Something that proves women's voices matter." "Like what?" "A school, a real one. Not just evening lessons in a barn. A proper school where women can learn, where girls can get educated, where no one gets turned away because some powerful man decided their trouble. Ethan studied her. That takes money, resources, time. I have time. We can find resources. And money. She paused. Judge Caldwell said Breslin might face fines for abuse of power. If he does, that money could go toward restitution for his victims, toward building something better. That's a long shot. So was winning the trial. We did that anyway. Ethan almost smiled. You've changed. You keep saying that. Because it keeps being true. 4 months ago, you were ready to disappear. Now you want to build a school and take down a corrupt councilman's entire legacy. 4 months ago, I thought I was alone. I'm not anymore. The words hung between them, weighted. True. Roy cleared his throat. So we're rebuilding the ranch and building a school, while dodging Breslin's revenge. This plan just keeps getting better. You have a better one? Clara asked. No, but I'm too old for this much optimism. They worked through the night, mending fences, rounding up cattle, assessing damage. By dawn they had a rough inventory, bad, but not catastrophic. We can recover from this, Ethan said. It'll take months, but we can do it. Clara looked at the broken barn door, at the men working to fix it, at the possibility of something more. I want to write to Mrs. Brennan. Ask if she knows other women Breslin targeted. Get their stories. Build a case that's bigger than just me. You think she'll help? She already helped once. Maybe she's ready to help again. That afternoon, Clara wrote the letter, sent it express, waited. 2 weeks later, a response came. Not from Mrs. Brennan, from 3 women, 3 separate letters, 3 different stories, all the same pattern. Advances, refusals, threats, systematic destruction. One woman lost her job as a seamstress, another lost her home, a third lost custody of her children, all because they said no to Howard Breslin. Clara read the letters with shaking hands. We need to send these to Judge Caldwell. We should, but Clara, these women didn't testify before. They might not be willing now. Then we ask. We give them the choice, but they deserve to know they're not alone. Over the next month, Clara corresponded with all 3 women. Slowly, carefully, building trust. One agreed to testify, then another, then the third. By March 6, women had come forward, all with documented evidence, all willing to speak. Judge Caldwell filed for a formal investigation, not just into the original charges, into a pattern of abuse spanning 15 years. The St. Louis newspapers picked up the story. Suddenly, Clara wasn't just a school teacher fighting false charges. She was the catalyst for exposing systemic corruption. Breslin fought back, published editorials calling the women liars, called it a conspiracy, demanded the investigation be dropped. But the evidence kept mounting. Payoffs to witnesses, falsified documents, threats made through intermediaries. The web unraveled. In April, the city council suspended Breslin pending the investigation's outcome. In May, 3 more women came forward. By June, Breslin resigned, quietly, without fanfare. But the damage to his reputation was complete. Clara watched it happen from the ranch, rebuilding, teaching, planning. The school took shape slowly. Started with a single room. Clara teaching reading and arithmetic to ranch workers' children. Then neighboring families started asking. Then families from town. By summer, 15 students filled the converted barn. By fall, 30. Ethan built a proper schoolhouse, 1 room, simple but sturdy, with desks and books and a chalkboard Clara ordered from Kansas City. On the first day of the fall term, Clara stood in front of 23 students, boys and girls, ranch hands' children and merchants' daughters, poor and wealthy, all together. My name is Miss Whitmore. I'm going to teach you to read, write, and think for yourselves. No one will be turned away from this classroom. No one will be told they're not worthy of education. And if anyone ever tells you that knowledge makes you dangerous, she smiled. Believe them, because it does. The students stared at her. One girl, maybe 14, raised her hand. "Miss Whitmore, is it true you fought a councilman in court and won?" Clara thought about lying, about deflecting, about being modest. Instead, "Yes, it's true, and I'll teach you how to fight too, with words, with evidence, with the truth." Word spread. About the teacher who'd beaten a corrupt councilman. About the school that welcomed everyone. About the ranch that had become something more. Applications came from neighboring towns, from families who'd heard the story, from girls who'd been told they didn't need education. Clara hired 2 more teachers, women who'd lost positions elsewhere, women who understood what it meant to fight for their place. By winter, 60 students attended Clara's school. The town that had wanted her arrested now sent her students. Not everyone approved. Cobb and his friends grumbled, called it inappropriate, dangerous, radical. But they couldn't deny the results. Students who could read, write, do mathematics, think critically. Their children were learning. That mattered more than pride. In December, a year after Clara had nearly frozen on a depot bench, the school held its first graduation. 5 students, all girls, all moving on to higher education. Clara watched them accept their certificates with tears in her eyes. "You did this," Ethan said beside her. "We did this." "No, you had the vision. I just built the walls." The walls matter. Not as much as what happens inside them. That night after the celebration ended, Clara found Ethan in the schoolhouse, alone, staring at the empty desks. "What are you thinking?" she asked. "About my sister. About what she could have been if someone had given her a chance like this." Clara moved beside him. "You gave me that chance. Maybe that's her legacy. Maybe she lives through what we've built here. Maybe." He turned to her. "Clara, I need to ask you something." "All right. We've been building this together for a year. The school, the ranch, this life. But I've never asked what you want long term. If you want to stay. If I want you." "Yes." Clara looked at this man who'd saved her life, who'd fought beside her, who'd believed in her when no one else did. "I want you. I want this life. I want to keep building something that matters. Then marry me." The words weren't flowery, weren't poetic, just honest. Yes. They married in January. Small ceremony. Judge Caldwell officiated. The students attended. The ranch hands celebrated. Mrs. Mackenzie, who'd helped fight the fire a year ago, brought a cake. Said it was about time someone made an honest man of Ethan Cross. Roy gave a toast. "To the boss who's a fool and the woman who makes his foolishness worthwhile." Clara laughed, cried, felt whole for the first time in years. But the work wasn't done. In March, Judge Caldwell sent word. The investigation into Breslin had concluded. He'd been formally stripped of his position, fined $50,000, banned from holding public office. The money, as Clara had hoped, was designated for restitution to his victims and for educational initiatives supporting women's access to learning. $10,000 went to Clara's school. With that funding, they built a second building, hired 4 more teachers, expanded the curriculum. By the second year, over 100 students attended. By the third year, the school had a reputation. Girls traveled from 3 states to attend. Families relocated to be near it. The town that had rejected Clara now relied on her. But Clara didn't forget where she'd come from. Every semester, she reserved spots for women who'd lost positions elsewhere, women who'd been labeled troublemakers, women who'd said no to powerful men. She gave them what someone had given her. A chance. Not charity, not pity. A chance to prove their worth, to rebuild, to matter. In the 4th year, Clara hired a young teacher named Rebecca. Fired from a position in Denver after refusing a supervisor's advances. On her first day, Rebecca stood in Clara's office, terrified. "What if I'm not good enough? What if I fail again?" Clara looked at her, saw herself 4 years ago, frozen, desperate, broken. "You won't fail, because failure is what happens when you stop trying. You're still here, still fighting. That's not failure. How do you know? Because I've been exactly where you are, and I'm still standing. Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. They said I was trouble, that I'd never teach again. They were wrong. You're not trouble. You're exactly what students need. Someone who understands what it costs to stand up for yourself. Rebecca stayed, thrived, became one of the best teachers Clara ever hired. That pattern repeated, year after year, woman after woman. The school became a refuge, a proving ground, a place where being strong wasn't a liability. 5 years after that cold night on the depot bench, Clara stood in front of 200 students at the year-end assembly. When I first came to this territory, I was told I didn't belong. That my education made me dangerous. That speaking up made me trouble. People tried to erase me, make me disappear, make me believe I didn't matter. She paused, looked at the faces watching her. But here's what I learned. Being forgotten doesn't mean you're finished. It means the world hasn't caught up to you yet. And if you keep standing, keep fighting, keep building something that matters, eventually, the world has no choice but to notice. The students erupted in applause. After the assembly, a young girl approached, maybe 10, shy. Miss Whitmore, my mama says you saved her life once, when she was sick and you were just passing through. Clara's breath caught. Sarah. The girl nodded. She sent me here to learn, said if anyone could teach me to be strong, it was you. Clara knelt to her level. Your sister came with you? She's working in town now, as a nurse, says she learned from watching you save her. Something full and warm bloomed in Clara's chest. Tell her I'm proud of her. I will. And Miss Whitmore. Thank you, for not giving up. Mama says if you hadn't fought, lots of people would have kept suffering. Clara hugged the girl, let herself feel it, the weight and the worth of every hard choice. That evening, she and Ethan sat on the porch of their home, watching the sun set over land they'd fought to keep, over a school they'd built from nothing, over a life they'd created together. You thinking about Breslin? Ethan asked. No, I'm thinking about all the women who came after, the ones who didn't have to fight alone because we fought first. That's a legacy. It's a beginning. Ethan reached for her hand. What's next? More students, more teachers. Maybe expand to other territories. You want to build an empire of schools. I want to build a world where girls don't get erased for having voices, where saying no doesn't destroy your life, where women with knowledge aren't dangerous, they're necessary. That's ambitious. I learned from the best. She looked at him. A man who risked everything on a stranger because it was right, who believed in fighting even when winning seemed impossible. I had a good teacher too, a woman who refused to stay defeated, who turned pain into purpose, who proved that one person standing up can change everything. They sat there, two people who'd found each other in the dark, who'd built light together. Do you ever regret it? Clara asked. Taking me in that night, everything that came after? Never, not once. Even when you lost contracts, when people called you a fool. Especially then, because being right mattered more than being popular. And you, he squeezed her hand. You were worth every risk, every cost, every fight. Clara felt tears prick. I love you. I love you too. Years later, when people asked Clara about that night on the depot bench, about how she'd survived, how she'd fought, how she'd won, she always gave the same answer. I didn't win alone. I won because someone saw me when I was invisible. Because people stood beside me when standing was dangerous. Because I learned that being forgotten is only permanent if you accept it. And then she'd smile. The kind of smile that carried victory and scars and unshakable certainty. The world tried to erase me. I refused to disappear. And that refusal, that choice to keep standing, keep fighting, keep mattering changed everything. Not just for me. For everyone who came after. Because once you prove that one woman can't be silenced, you prove that no woman can be. That's not just survival. That's revolution. And revolution doesn't end, it builds. She built her school. She built her life. She built a legacy that outlasted every man who tried to destroy her. And in the end, Clara Whitmore proved what she'd always known, but had to fight to claim being forgotten. Doesn't mean you don't matter. It just means your story isn't finished yet.